Rahul Kapoor is heading into seventh grade in a small town in Indiana. The start of middle school is making him feel increasingly anxious, so his favorite person in the whole world, his grandfather, Bhai, gives him some well-meaning advice. Find one thing you're really good at and become the best at it. Those four little words sear themselves into Rahul's brain. While he's not quite sure what that special thing is, he is convinced that once he finds it, bullies like Brent Mason will stop torturing him at school, and he won't be worried about staring too long at his classmate, Justin Emery. With his best friend Chelsea by his side, Rahul is ready to crush this challenge. But what if he discovers he isn't the best at anything? Here is a look at The Best at It by Maulik Pancholy. It was an honor book in 2020 for the Stonewall Book Award. Chelsea and I are playing Just Dance in the basement when my grandfather, Bhai, calls down the stairs. It's the last day of your vacation. You kids need to get out of the house. Maybe later, I yell back up. The song comes to a finish, and Chelsea throws her arms in the air and bows with a flourish. We're just in the middle of something right here. You've been locked away in that basement all summer, he calls back down. Then his voice grows sly. How about we have a race around the neighborhood? Should we go up? Chelsea tugs on her t-shirt to air out the sweat. I love hanging out with my grandfather. I really do. But lately I've been avoiding playing out in the street. I mean, who wants to risk running into someone from school over the summer? Isn't 9 months of the year enough? But I can beat you in a race from our house to Mr. McCarter's Jeep, Bhai says, refusing to give up. Then he pauses and adds, if you win, I'll teach you how to pop a wheelie in my wheelchair. I look at Chelsea with my eyebrows raised. Bhai's wheelies are pretty awesome. Plus, we both know he'll be home alone all day when we head back to school tomorrow. It'd be nice to spend some time with him. She shrugs as if to say, why not? Fine, you're on. We clamber up the stairs. I call referee, she yells as we follow Bhai out the front door. Before we make our way into the street, I do a quick sweep of the neighborhood. Except for Dad's band rehearsing in our garage, it's a ghost town out here. Probably because it's August in Indiana and like 200 degrees out. The race is on. I hop up and down to loosen my limbs as Bhai wheels in next to me. Whoever touches the Jeep first wins. He tugs on his wool hat and adjusts his cardigan, his eyes twinkling in my direction. Even though it's sweltering, Bhai never strays from his signature look. He has a Mr. Rogers-worthy supply of cardigans. I think all Indian grandfathers do. On your marks. Chelsea's voice slices through the thick summer air. I curl my lip and throw my best, you better watch out, look, in Bhai's direction. The sun gleaming off his wheelchair stings my eyes. Stop, wait, I can't see, I yell. Rahul! Chelsea suppresses a laugh as I bat away at the green and black sunspots dancing in front of my face. Sorry. I shove my glasses back up onto my sweaty nose. The green lawns and giant oak trees lining our street come back into focus. Chelsea runs her hands through her short blonde hair and starts again. On your marks. One more second. I bend over to fiddle with my shoelace. I think this knot's a little loose. Bhai raises his hand. Excuse me, Chelsea. Are there rules against this kind of stalling? If there aren't, there should be. She shakes her head at me. Your shuls are fine, Ra. Plus my dad's going to be here soon to pick me up. Now, get set. Hold up! Now I've gone and untied the whole thing. Go! I retie it just in time to see Bhai fly past the starting line. He slams his hands over and over onto the tires of his wheelchair with lightning speed. No fair, I yell, taking off, but he's already ahead of me. Very fair, he shouts, throwing his head over his shoulder to shoot me a devilish grin. He bursts into a full-throated laugh. Bhai has the world's best laugh. It's like 2 scoops of mint double chocolate chip ice cream and a family trip to Disney World, all rolled into one. I think your other shoe is untied too, Bhai hollers back at me. Huh? I stop to look. Chelsea face palms. Really, Ra? Oldest trick in the book. Bhai might be 72 and in a wheelchair, but he's competitive as all get out. I bite my lower lip and take off for a second time, pumping my arms like a madman. You might be thinking, how on earth could a 12-year-old kid not beat a 72-year-old man in a wheelchair? Well, you haven't met Bhai. He maneuvers that chair like it's a Lamborghini. We also have an agreement. He doesn't baby me just because I'm 12, and I don't coddle him just because he's got 60 years on me. In fact, he's the one who insisted I call him Bhai. It's pronounced kind of like Bhai, and it means older brother. When I asked him why, he said, because you should always be able to tell me anything that's on your mind, as though I'm your older brother. Which is weird because I prefer that my younger brother, Aaron, not tell me anything at all. I'm just a few feet behind him now, and Bhai whips his head over his shoulder again and taunts me. It's just to Mr. McCarter's Jeep. You better catch up. You're going down, I scream, surprised at how out of breath I'm getting. How is he going this fast? Dad's band down the street is scoring our every move, and the music pumps through my straining muscles. Chelsea is chanting, "Go, go, go," in the background. We're neck and neck now. I squeeze every last ounce of energy into my legs. The trees are streaks of green and brown on either side of me. I narrow my eyes onto the Jeep, parked across the intersection of Oak Street. The finish line. And then, suddenly, a voice shatters my concentration. Oh my God, it snickers. This has got to be the most pathetic thing I've ever seen. Oh no, I know that voice. Of all people, why does it have to be Brent Mason? And why does he have to be in my neighborhood today? Brent is my worst nightmare. The kind of nightmare that comes complete with splotchy red skin, a million freckles, dirty blonde hair, and a sweaty, hulking body that is way too big for a 12-year-old. And, at the moment, he's coming out the front door of Justin Emery's house. Ah! He fake shrieks, pointing at Bhai. Help! Someone's escaped from the nursing home. Luckily, Bhai is too far away to hear him, or Brent would get an earful about disrespecting his elders. Brent ambles across Justin's lawn in a muscle tee, annihilating patches of innocent grass with his gigantic flip-flops. A dandelion snaps in half underneath him. Hi, Brent. My voice comes out pinched. That's my grandfather, and he doesn't live in a nursing home. He lives with us. I look down at Bhai. He's almost to the Jeep now. Chelsea's screaming, Rahul, go! I gotta go, I say, and start to take off. But Brent starts jumping up and down, raising his hand in the air. Wait! I have a serious question, he deadpans. Would you call that thing that you're doing running? Then he doubles over, laughing. The screen door slams shut behind him, and Justin walks out onto his front porch. I try not to stare, but Justin looks different. What is it? He's definitely taller. And did he grow some biceps while he was away at camp? Or is it just the football perched under his tanned arm that makes it bulge like that? He shakes his light brown bangs out of his eyes, and I swallow. Yo, Jay, did you see how Rahul runs? Brent guffaws. This is what it looks like. He starts flailing his arms and kicking his legs around every which way. One of his flip-flops goes flying through the air. Justin and Brent have been lumped together ever since the 6th grade football team won the homecoming game last year, making them middle school heroes. So of course they're hanging out. But it's just my luck they would be at Justin's house today of all days. Justin smiles at me sympathetically. Hey Rahul, how's your summer been? It's hard to imagine the two of them having anything in common besides football. They're polar opposites. Brent's a jerk, and Justin is, well, Justin's perfect. Once, Trina Drexel literally fainted when he said hi to her in the hallway. He waited patiently by her limp body until the nurse came. Some say he even gave her CPR. A week later, they started dating. I mean, how nice is that? Dude! Brent gestures down the street. Grandpa's going in for a crash landing. I spin toward Bhai just in time to see him throw his front wheels up in the air, whirl his whole chair around, and slam it backward into Mr. McCarter's Jeep. He throws his arms up in victory. Shoot, I just lost the race because of stupid Brent. Justin palms the football, holding it up near his ear, making his bicep bulge again. I cross my arms to hide my own scrawny muscles. Well, I better go. Bye-bye, Brent says. Justin tosses the football and Brent runs down the lawn after it. He catches it in his stomach and body slams himself into the ground, yelling, touchdown! He wriggles his legs around like a cockroach. Bhai starts wheeling toward us, and out of the corner of my eye, I see Chelsea heading our way too. Her hands are on her hips. Uh-oh. Brent heaves himself upright. Looks like your girlfriend is pissed. He wraps his arms around himself and pretends to shiver. I'm so scared. She's not my... I try to explain, but Brent cuts me off. Yeah, I know. There's no way you'd ever have a girlfriend. Then without any warning, he crosses all the way back to where I'm standing and squeezes his pecs together until it looks like the green veins on his neck are going to burst out of his skin. Woof! He barks. He throws his head right in front of mine, the effort turning his sweaty face bright red. What are you doing, Brent? Chelsea doesn't mask her disgust. None ya biz, he says. Chelsea rolls her eyes, but before she can say anything else, Justin interrupts. Hey, what's that music coming from your house? I hear Dad's band down the street. That's Bollywood music, young man, Bhai wheels up. Bollywood with a twist. Dad and his two best friends, Vinay uncle and Jeet uncle, grew up in India listening to pirated cassette tapes of Air Supply. Those are Dad's words, which always make me think of a bunch of cassette tapes dressed like pirates. Air Supply is a 1980s British-Australian soft rock band known for sappy romantic songs like All Out of Love and Even the Nights Are Better, the lyrics to which no one should ever have to hear their dad sing. Recently, they had the bright idea of forming their own band called Bollywood Supply, specializing in Air Supply cover songs, except they sing them in Hindi and, to date, generally off-key. Bollywood, Brent chuckles, is that like, yee-ya, ee-ee-ee-ya-ya? His voice is high and nasal as he flings one arm behind his ear and one arm out in the air. He waggles his head and his shoulders around in a really bad imitation of a Bollywood singer. That's not at all what it's like, Bhai says, his voice firm. Well, anyway, I spin around. We should really get going. Brent's the worst. Why was he all up in your face like that? Chelsea asks once we're out of earshot. That boy is a terrible singer. Bhai shakes his head. Not to mention dancer. As we walk up to our driveway, Vinay uncle and Jeet uncle are packing their synthesizers and tablas into their cars. Dad says goodbye to them and then tips his head our way. Were you guys playing in the street? He asks. I hope you kept your eyes open, he says, before we can answer. Some of the drivers around here have no concept of the speed limit. Cars. As if. The real danger is people popping out onto their front lawns with no warning at all. And this has been a preview of The Best at It by Maulik Pancholy.